What is up, everybody? Station, pop, pop, boom. Welcome to PCP Movie Night, the first PCP Movie Night of 2023. Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I am your host, Rockin' Robbie Billups, and tonight we're going to be talking about a damned classic. We're going to be talking about John Carpenter's They Live. And you know we couldn't do They Live, pretty much the original inspiration for why Teen Dog Shades are even a thing. We couldn't do it without putting the Teen Dog Shades on. These are the official ones. And speaking of the official ones, the official PCP Excitable crew for tonight gathered to talk about this movie. We got Jelani. What is up, my man?
What's up, Station? And yeah, obey, man.
Obey, consume, marry, reproduce, all that jazz and more. Speaking of obeying, Brooks is here as well. What's up, Brooks? How you doing, man?
All right.
Yeah, man, excited to be here, man. It feels like
I sure am. I am very.
I just want to take this moment at the beginning of 2023 to tell both of you how much I love you and appreciate both of you for being here every week for PCP Movie Night. Like, we are the PCP Movie Night core. It's always us.
The
and
Trinity.
Then we have some great games. We're the Trinity, right?
We are the Trinity.
Yes. And
I choose Batman.
Yeah, we always say, I guess I'll be Superman. Brooks can be Wonder Woman. And
Sweet.
I think Brooks is okay with that, actually. Brooks is like a tiara. But we always have some great guests, and we have a great panel tonight to kick off 2023, including Fable, my man.
Hey, what? Why do you guys look like alien skeletons?
Bro, you know it's only that one down there, man. It's only Brooks. Like, that's why John's not here tonight, by the way, because we're all wearing the shades. So John,
yeah, he knows for a fact. He's not one of us.
He's watching from his spaceship right now.
Hell yeah! Speaking of spaceship, orbiting the planet right now, and spaceship Mike 06. It is Mike 06. What is up, my man? You're muted. Can't start 2023 off without the muted bit.
Yep, I always got to kick that one off. So
hell yeah,
my bit. Nobody else steal it.
So. All right, so you out there in the chat, in the comments, I appreciate you being here. I'm wearing these glasses, and I haven't worn these things in a while, so sometimes I can't read exactly what you're saying. But thank you all for being here. Two Gun, GT, Joram, Steph, I saw Scarpad, Eric. Perry, we're going to have a good time tonight. All right, Mike, this is, by the way, your first time watching this film.
Correct.
And nobody else here is the first time, right? Like, okay.
It's my first time.
I think we've all watched it together.
Like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
All right.
Okay.
Well, let's
I've
talk
never
about
heard of this movie, really.
So They Live is a John Carpenter film from 1988. And most of us know it. It stars Roddy Piper, Keith David, has some other performances in there. I loved this movie. When I was a kid, I loved this movie because it had Roddy Piper in it, right? And I was a big wrestling fan at that time. And that was like prime time for WWF and all that kind of stuff. WrestleMania, like 3 and 4 and 5, like that. Like that's some good era, right? So I loved this one as a kid because he was in it, but also I just always loved the idea of the sunglasses, seeing what was behind things. And even at that early age in my life, this movie came out in 88. So I'm like 7 years old, right? 6, 7. I think I'm 7 years old. So that's going on. And there's so much in this movie that was intriguing to me, even though I didn't fully understand what they were talking about. This movie is on the nose with its socio-economical message that's kind of thread throughout. I love the idea of the aliens. I think they look really scary, really creepy. This was a movie that I adored as a kid. On the rewatch, as excited as I was to watch this film, and I still think it holds up immensely, this was the first time I really kind of felt a glaring problem in Act 2, where this movie kind of struggles to find its identity for a while. It's mostly when John Nada widens up in that, like kidnapping that woman, taking her hostage, going to her apartment, getting knocked out. It goes through this weird sequence of events to set up things that I think could have been introduced in a little bit more organically. I love the music. overall, I still love this film. I love how daring it is in its message, where it is straight up about, yo, the government, the media, all this other shit, they are trying to control you just to make you a fucking zombie out there, not caring. You're docile. We're cattle to the overlords. And in this one, he just makes some aliens, but he was really saying, yo, it's the government, it's the media, it's the elite doing this, right? Those points are there. And also the idea of, we'll get into all the deep meanings and all that kind of stuff, but I love how bold, and this is not thinly, this isn't veiled at all from John Carpenter on this film, right? Like, it is just on the nose from the very beginning. They're talking about Reaganomics and shit, right? But John Carpenter says this is his response to the Reagan era. And I think Roddy Piper does great. We'll talk about the performances, but overall, I love it. I still love it. It ranks high on my favorite movies, but having been going through the John Carpenter filmography, chronologically speaking, on Rockin' Robbie Live, it's definitely not one of his top tier movies, but it's not mid, nor is it bottom. I think it's a really solid film. Jelani, what's your history? What do you think overall this time on They Live?
Bruh. First of all, this is like my 80th time watching this. I mean, no exaggeration. This is one of my favorite movies like of all time. When this scared the crap out of me when I was a little kid, like, because the aliens, just in general, the aliens that are taking over have been here for a long time, scared the shit out of me as a kid, and like I couldn't deal with it when they put the sunglasses on, so I had to like turn away. I remember watching this. I think it was like on HBO, because I didn't know what this was, because it disappeared for a long time. It has the greatest fight scene ever filmed. It is the greatest beautiful one-on-one beat down, put on the sunglasses fight you will ever see. It took them.
You better be prepared to eat that trash can. Where you're gonna put, like, what the fuck?
What a weird. Put on the sunglasses, eat the trash can.
Exactly. What a weird situation to be in to start this most elaborate fight scene, which I do love. I agree with you. It's one of the best
ever. It took them 2 weeks to choreograph it. It took them 3 days to film it. Keith David actually punched Roddy Piper in the face. The very first punch is an accident, and they kept going because like Roddy's a professional, and he's just like, I'm a professional wrestler. I take hits all the time. And Keith David didn't know what to do, but he felt bad because you can tell him cringe a little bit in the first hit, but he still go. I mean, it still goes as that fight, but it's a 3-day shot fight. It's so clean. I love the music in this. It's just everything about this film. Something about it. It is on the nose. It tells what society is now. It tells what society is back then. A lot of things that are going on, and it's so clean. I cannot explain it. While I was in my new apartment, I was watching this movie. I watched this movie 3 times while I was unpacking. So it's just to study up and bone up on this, because I remember this well as a kid, and on the rewatch for this, it's even better. I don't know what it is. You're right about kind of the second act of where they go with it, because Evil Lynn is in it.
It is Evil Lynn.
That's probably right off
the scariest woman ever.
Yeah. I love them eyes. Them piercing. She got the most piercing blue eyes I've ever seen in a human being. I was like, there. She's like, oh, they're clean. The second I saw her at the meeting, by the way, I just want to throw this out. The meeting that they had, and they were like, hey, we're telling all these humans about the thing, but they're human collaborators. We got to know who they are. And I'm like, dog,
I love your goddamn impression of that dude, man. That was perfect. That was goddamn perfect, Jelani. Can you do that again, please?
He's just like, yeah. And he's like so about this meeting that they went to. And I'm like, you dumbass, you brought everybody to one spot. And then she showed up. The second she showed up, Roddy Piper should have been like, we got to get her. We got to shoot her. Or we got to cap her, because she ain't real. She's not a real person.
Right.
But
she's not real.
Other than that, like, this movie, She's not a real person. I think she's a robot with piercing blue eyes. She's Evelyn. The second I'll be like, Evelyn!
If she's a robot, she's a robot, would he
it
see that she's a robot? Because he sees all the other stuff. Like the glasses just don't show the hidden messages and the aliens. They show like the probes going through the sky and the antenna going around with all the sleep. Dude, John Carpenter
creepy.
And then wrote this movie. You know, I mean, he had a Teen Dog Shades night when he made this one.
Yep. I got my Region shades on, just to let you know that too.
Well, would they all count as They Live shades, really?
They're
Whether
shades,
Teen Dogs
They're
or
shades.
Region shades or straight to ale shades, or even if they're Bud Light shades, because I got some Bud Light shades that I really like. So Jelani really likes this movie, still holds up for him. Brooks, this was your first time watching this film. I am incredibly eager to hear what you have to think. Per se.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, it made me think like a lot, you know, because like this movie was made in the late '80s, and like the way that I remember the late '80s, like which probably a lot of us do, is that, you know, it was actually a pretty good time. You know, we only remember the good things about the late '80s because, you know, we were kids. You know,
Yeah, we were
fucking
we had toys.
Like, you know,
we were
there
cool.
was this economic disparity going on even back then. It's like still mirrored in our modern times. It's like nothing's really changed. It's like, and it's like we've seen, you know, behind the curtain, and we just don't care enough to do anything about it. It seems, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I thought it was like, you know, I'm surprised that Roddy Piper wasn't in more movies, having seen this movie, because it's like I've seen like wrestlers that are way worse actors do way more movies than this guy, and like
he got fired from the WWF for doing this movie. Yeah, Vince fired him because he was like, he can't do two things. It's like he fired Hulk Hogan for Rocky 3.
Yeah, it wasn't the standard practice back then, right? You know, this is before even Mr. Nanny, the Suburban Commando. This is before all of that. This is before The Rock and John Cena. This is before, and like Roddy Piper paved the way for people like Batista and Dwayne Johnson and John Cena, right? I mean, honestly, but you're right. His performance is actually really good. And in the commentary to the movie, on this awesome Screen Factory set that I have, on the commentary, it's Roddy Piper and John Carpenter, and Piper's really down on himself about his performance. And Carpenter's like, "You're wrong, dude. You're wrong. You did."
It was fantastic.
So you can take the line like the bubblegum line and make it not sound completely ridiculous. That's such a feat in and of itself, I think.
And that's a line that he brought. So he like told Carpenter, he's like, you know, I got some of these things that I got in the bag for wrestling when I'm cutting promos, right? He's like, you want me to do? I want to do some of those. And he's like, okay. And the bubblegum bit was one of them. Like, apparently that was one that he had in his bag. You know, because you got to think, like, if you're a lyricist, a rapper, and you do like freestyle stuff, you have tricks in the bag. You know, you got sequences of rhymes that you've been thinking about for a while that you can throw out there, right? And apparently Piper did that a lot. And apparently the whole like you're fucking ugly. Like this one's that was one of them or something.
You're
Speaking
okay.
of fucking ugly, it's Dylan. Hey. What is
up? Wow. Station. Happy New Year.
Sorry, I'm late, brother. Mike, Jelani, Brooks, Fable.
What's up, man?
Robbie. Good to see y'all, man. Sorry, man.
Nah, thank you for being here, man.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, sorry, man. I looked at the clock. I'm like, oh shoot, he started, man. So, and then I turned the laptop off like an idiot. So I got the kid, man, and I was feeding him, trying to get him to bed. So sorry, man. But you know, I had to drop in, man. You know, I wish I had a They Live shirt, bro, from Fright Rags, man.
That would be cool, man.
They have one, but I missed it, man. I missed it.
You know, one thing I've learned is if you want Dylan on your show, cover a John Carpenter film. He'll be there.
You know it. He's my all-time favorite director, horror director, no doubt, man.
Hey, but when I told you we were doing this, you were like, I got to be there. I got to be there with shades and bells on. So why is that, man? What do you think about this film overall?
I love this movie. This movie, like Jelani said, is an all-time classic for me. I saw this in the movies because me and my mom were big horror, sci-fi nuts. So we had to go see this one. And during the years, you know, used to come on in reruns on TV. And what was so cool about this rewatch is I got to finally see this movie, or I just, with the mind you have now as an adult and seeing it in wide frame, it was a revelation. This movie is so much better than I remember it, because 4:3 on a regular TV screen for decades, you're seeing it like this, you're not getting its full glory. I often thought that this was his worst shot movie. And now I've completely flipped. I mean, I don't think it's his best shot movie, but Jesus, every frame is a picture. I mean, his composition is amazing. This movie is great. Roddy Piper, you guys said it. What happened? He should have made way more movies than this. This was great.
With this,
Keith David. Who doesn't love Keith?
It makes
David?
no sense he didn't do it. Yeah, Keith David's awesome. I'm watching Roadhouse right now, and Keith David's in that. I forgot.
I forgot he was in that too. So you just mentioned it. Yeah,
He's the bartender.
Yeah, he was
Ernie.
the
We got to do Roadhouse again. I understand we just did it not too long ago. But we got to do it again. We got to do it again.
It's awesome. I watched it again. I'm watching it now. He's fighting Ben Gazzara right now. Ben Gazzara! And it's the best ever. I love this movie.
Yeah.
I heard you got balls big enough to come in a dump truck. What?
Yeah. What?
Yeah. But overall, man, this movie still holds up for me. And not only that, but it's a great science fiction tale. It's got great sci-fi elements. I love that Carpenter went all over the place, horror, sci-fi. This to me is one of the great sci-fi movies. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, this was your first time watching it, man. And I know that you love John Carpenter, so I'm excited. And especially since you're a wrestling fan too. What did you think of this film, Mike?
It was a fun film. It's not a masterpiece. Had I watched it as a kid, it'd probably be one of my favorites. And I have a lot of nostalgia for it. So as an adult, it was entertaining and fun. Like it was good. Like I said, I liked Roddy Piper, like Keith David. The story really kind of fell apart in that second act. And then it was just funny that like outside of the very last shot, and we talked about this at the shop, this really could have been a PG-13 movie, easy. Minus a few words and,
yeah,
a little bit of graphic.
It is rated R?
Huh. Yeah, it's rated R.
Wow.
Well, they wanted it to be rated R. And part of the deal was that they wanted nudity in the film. And John Carpenter doesn't really put nudity in his film. So if you notice, it's at the very tail end because he's like, fine, here you go. Sure. But it's a funny scene, ending. Actually.
I love that ending. It's one of the best endings.
Hey, baby.
Yeah, it is.
Whoa, baby. What's wrong? So you liked it overall? Just, I get what you're saying, though.
Why did you finish it? Oh.
All right, Dylan, you had to be here because it's John Carpenter. I know you love almost every film he's done. What do you think about this?
I wish, man, I had my I pre-ordered the Scream Factory Steelbook, man. They don't come till like next week, though. I don't think. It's freaking gorgeous, though. I tried to get the regular 4K, but it wasn't coming with the slip, man. And then they announced that Steelbook, and it's so gorgeous, man. I would have loved to check that out for the review, but man, I know this movie so well, man. Like you said, Robbie, I didn't even need to watch it for the review, man. It's just, it's one I've watched all my life, It's one like up there with Big Trouble Little China, So it's just a fun movie, And I love Roddy Piper in it. Once you mentioned it on the stream, my little bro, he was like, dude, you better be there, bro. He's like, I fucking love that movie. I was like, yeah, bro, I'll definitely drop in. It's just, I love it, bro. It's got, it's got all that underlying conspiracies, and then it's got the conspiracies right in your face. But it's just a good movie, man. Roddy Piper is just so iconic in it. Keith David, that fight scene. It's got some great cinematography. Great,
and that fight scene is what they used in South Park for the Timmy Jimmy fight.
Oh, really?
They went
No
scene
way.
for- They went shot for
That's
shot
right.
on that.
No way.
Shot for
That's
scene.
so funny.
Rewatch it
story.
again, and I'm
Yep.
sure you can even find a video on YouTube where it has both of them side by side. But yeah,
Yeah.
they go pretty much shot for shot on that fight because
Jimmy's
it's
got
just
the skinhead
I
on the
love
back. It's awesome.
he does.
Yeah.
I love
It
that
just keeps
goddamn fight
going.
scene. It
Yeah.
starts off like they're like, "Come on, motherfucker!" They're like boxing, right? Then they start doing some wrestling
Yeah.
moves. And then they're just like rolling around, biting, fucking pulling hair, and by the end of
It's
it,
great.
he puts on the shades. He should have put on the shades.
Yeah.
And then they're
I
just
just
walking
put on
like
the shades.
when they go to
You
the
like, okay,
hotel,
no.
they both are just
That's
the,
good.
the shit beat out of them. It's like they just started Fight Club, man. It's like
And
what's
seriously,
going on?
though, I mean, honestly, Roddy Piper is a big reason why that was able to be shot and look as good as it does to
Right.
this day,
So good.
because
know-
he was, he was a pro wrestler.
Roddy says
Yep.
that
You
Keith.
got to sell it.
Roddy says that Keith was giving him pointers on like subtext as an actor and how to like carry certain things just without speaking and
Mhm.
right. So Roddy says that Keith helped him as an actor, and Keith says in turn he helped him do that scene,
Yeah.
right? Because that scene you can tell that it looks like wrestling,
Yeah.
right? But
Yep.
what's so funny about it. We can go on this tangent for a moment. What's so fucking funny about it is it. Even when rewatching this movie for like the fucking, I don't know, 23rd time, right?
Probably more. Come on.
Maybe
be
more,
honest.
right? I still get surprised at how long that fucking fight goes.
Yeah.
Seriously, every time I'm like, damn, this shit goes
They're still
forever.
fighting?
It's like its
And
own
it's
little short movie.
One of and what I love about it is the way they pace that. They're like Keith David's character thinks that, okay, I got it. And then, oh my god! And my favorite bit in that whole thing was when he stops him from hitting him in the balls. He's like, "Oh, you dirty motherfucker!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then he does
Dirty
it. And
motherfucker.
then he needs him like 8 times. I'm like, you dirty
8 times in
motherfucker.
a jump. Oh my
Keith
god!
Keith is such a good actor.
This just
man. He
keeps
doesn't get the
going. And I'm
credit
like,
he
why are you
deserves.
still
When John
That fight
breaks
was
the
awesome.
fucking glass with the wood, and he's like, "I'm sorry," and he gets serious for a moment, but then Keith David just like, and that's when the fight gets more visceral,
Yeah.
more like
Yeah.
high school
Yeah.
guttural, like kids laying on the like rolling on the
It was
fucking
awesome.
ground.
Yeah. Hugging each other, just going ape shit, man.
play to
Yeah.
win fighting?
Those
Yeah.
fights usually end with people crying too. Like they start crying. Like you get so emotional when you're in one of those kind of
Nah,
fights, you just start
man.
crying.
Those guys became
But it's a
best friends
bonding
after that
moment.
one, man.
It's
Yeah, no
yeah,
shit.
it's a bonding.
It's a
moment.
bond.
Guys
They're
fight,
friends.
become best
He's like,
friends.
you could kick ass too.
Yeah.
You could kick ass too.
Mhm.
We're best friends.
It's and obviously we
awesome.
know the bank scene. I came here to kick ass and
Kick
chew
ass.
bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. I mean, that's just the most. And Roddy Piper came up with that line himself. That was like something he had like a notebook full of badass catchphrases, pickup lines for wrestling. And he's like, I got one, and it just stuck, man. And that's one of the most iconic things about this movie.
He delivers that line so goddamn intensely too.
Oh
Like it's
my
not
God,
done
it does.
in like tongue in cheek. It's like
So
and I'm
subtle.
all out of bubblegum.
Yup.
It's like
And I think he's Canadian, so the way it comes out is very Canadian how he says it,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
just
I
it's so
believe it.
matter of
Or
fact.
Scottish. I think he's Scottish
Scottish.
or
Like
something.
almost-
Scottish stuff too.
Or
Yeah.
Scottish, yeah, he's Scottish. He wears
Yeah.
yeah, that's
So
right.
you'd
When
have
it
the
comes out,
bagpipes and
it
everything.
comes out so like matter of fact and like just move, just like this is I'm here to kick ass and choke I'm all
Hell
in.
yeah. So another PCP movie night kicking off 2023. Another movie that we all seem to be really into. And these movies don't work without the cast. We've already talked about some of them. And y'all, I love you so much. And I don't want to start off 2023 this way. I want to be the one to weird stretch and
You're
find
still gonna
something
do
that
it.
nobody else has thought of. But I am totally going to steal Frank as my favorite character, Keith David. I love Keith David so goddamn much.
So iconic.
In this movie,
Mhm.
in The Thing, in so many movies that I can't even remember that
many.
he's actually in. What's that?
Video games.
Yes, he's in
He's
tons
the
of shit.
president in Rick and Morty.
He's always been more of a
Yeah.
voice actor, I think.
Yeah.
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 Well, and what I know him from too is doing some of the Ken Burns documentaries, right? Like he
He
was
has
the
such an
voice of Ken
iconic
Burns.
voice too.
Yeah,
you can
and
tell
he's
by-
Spawn. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
the
he's
Spawn
the
voice in the
animated
animated
Spawn.
series. Yes,
I always
I
forget that.
love Keith David,
Keith
and of
David,
course,
He
yeah.
does awesome.
of
Oh,
course, being a horror fan,
Armageddon.
love seeing him
Yep.
in Search of Darkness. And he has such an enthused passion when he talks about his work in the genre. And it really like uplifts me. I love his performance. And we cannot mention Keith David without talking about his groundbreaking performance in Community. And in particular, my favorite bit in all of Community, where he admits to encouraging white people. And they do that whole bit. I don't know if you guys have seen Community, but just look it up sometime. Keith David, Community, encourage white people. It is hilarious. Speaking of encouraging white people, Jelani is the biggest encourager in my life. Jelani, why don't you tell me what is the character you want to highlight here?
I do what I can. I'm gonna pick Buck Flower, the drifter guy.
Okay.
I see myself as him in this movie. I don't know why. There's something about him. He's just, hey fellers, let's watch some TV. Why is this going on? You know, I would totally sell out. Listen, if I knew there were like aliens taking us over and it was obeying and consume and marry and produce, totally sold out. I'd be like, wait a minute.
He's the cipher of this
You mean
movie,
all I gotta
right?
do?
He's the cipher in the Matrix of this movie. Yeah, fucking sell out. You're saying like Jelani's like I like this guy. I just want to watch TV and sell out, man. That's all I want to do.
Yep. All I want to do is watch TV and sell out. That's it. It's simple. My life is very simple. Please, after experience I just had, that's exactly when I saw this movie, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I want to sell out. Yeah. I'm in the Matrix, baby. I know this is a steak. This is delicious steak. This thing's good. So like I love his character. I wouldn't have been as dumb as him, like walking him through and let me give you guys the grand tour. And I'm like walking you around, but I love his voice. I love him. I've never seen him in anything else. I know he's in other things in that
He's
era.
in a few Carpenter
but I'm
films,
like,
for sure.
I'm sure he is, but he is so fantastic. I just love like he when he's there, he's chewing scenery. And it's just like, yeah, well, I'm just an old timer trying to learn how to live life. And then, you know, it's so cool. I don't know what it is about his character, but every time I watch this movie, I'm like, he feels like he's not supposed to be there, but he's there all the same. And I'm like, yeah, I'll allow it. But he's awesome.
No shit.
Jordan's
right. The fight scene is high level entertainment. They will not relent. Maybe that says something about men when they fight and when they I'm not going to put on these goddamn glasses, no matter how good it is. I'm not going to take my goddamn medicine. I'm not going to eat my fucking burger. I'm not going. I don't know.
Go get the shot.
I ain't gonna like. One time, this dude fucking had a dude I knew had a lawnmower fucking accident. And like cut up most of his arm and fucking shoulder, and like didn't go to the hospital for like 6 or 7 days. What the fuck? Like this is the kind of shit that makes this fight plausible. Good pick though, Jelani. That's really good. He's a great performer. What about you, Brooks? What's a character / performance you want to highlight?
Well, I really like Meg Foster in this movie.
Yeah,
and like like it's been mentioned, like those eyes like are almost unnaturally blue. It's like every time I look at him, I'm like I assume she's wearing like contacts of some kind, but like apparently she's not.
That's her eyes.
They're like Jesus eyes, man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's like she's like a vampire or something.
Yeah, he said Jesus.
Who's saying Jesus wasn't a vampire? I'm just saying, okay. The story, if you look at it, it fits.
He did talk about drinking blood. It was his blood.
That's right. I know.
He's right. Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
But yeah, I think the moment that I picked her character was when she slams Roddy Piper's character out of that glass window.
Bro, what the hell? Like, right?
She was like, ass real quick.
Damn.
In a movie with some random ideas, that is the most random fucking moment in the movie.
You knew what to do.
Seizes the opportunity, just like.
They're doing stuff on the TV station.
To not be sincere.
Oh, I knew she was like, I saw her. I was like, traitor.
That's a whole thing, though. Like, that's a whole thing. Like, was she a traitor from the beginning?
Yeah.
She was.
I think she kind of. Yeah, I think she like saw things. And
she already
at first she decided she wanted to, but then they were like, hey, we're we'll give you money or whatever. Like, you know, that's how they do it. That's how they keep control, is by just giving people what they want, the people they need to use. Just give them what they want, because it's nothing to them. But, you know, it's something to
now,
whoever they're giving it to.
Yeah.
It's
like
probably
why she had that gig at that
station.
Yeah, it's probably why she had that gig at that station.
She knew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
Her clothes changed. Did you notice her clothes changed? Like she was at the meeting and she was wearing the turtleneck and the jacket, and then when you see her again, she's wearing a different color turtleneck and her hair's up.
Right.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, her hair's up.
It changes. Like, I don't know if she was replaced or it was her and she was just like, you know what? I'm supposed to be here. This is my part to play. This is where I go. And I think if she wasn't a collaborator from the beginning, I think she was changed after she called the police.
Yeah.
And she found the sunglasses. I think they changed her then. And then she showed up at the meeting. The second she showed up at the meeting, I've been like, nah, she did it. You know, that she dirty. She real dirty.
How the fuck does she even know that they're there?
She saw the glasses and asked questions.
I guess. You're right. That's a weak part in the film, though. That's a weak part in the film. We'll get to that in sound structure. What's a cast member / character you want to highlight, Fabe?
Oh, the main character, Roddy Piper. I don't know his name in the movie. I don't know if they ever name him in the movie.
It's John Nada.
John McNaught.
There's my
really
pop. I just got to show it all.
So it's John McNaught.
Nada.
No, it's John Nada. Nada as in nothing.
No, it's Nada. N-A-D-A.
Yeah, I love him.
He's like Colorado. Watch 14.
To me,
shut down on that.
He's like the original Neo, right? Because they red pill Neo, and Neo saw this whole new reality. This is like the Matrix before the Matrix. And the way he changes from it is so cool, because he's so soft spoken and so quiet in the beginning, the first half hour of the film, and then when he finally gets red pill. I mean, the guy's an action hero. Like, he's killing these aliens. He's getting guns
immediately.
He's on it.
Like, the glasses like change your behavior, like especially if you wear them for long enough.
Yeah, maybe it snapped them out of, because I know that the things were talking subliminally, right? They were sending messages, like audio messages. I think.
I love how they reference how high they feel when they wear the glasses, and they don't have this interference from the overlords of society. Like, they actually feel high and happy. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, if we weren't like bogged down with this like systemic shit about money and work and consummation and celebrity, if we didn't have, like, maybe we would all be exhilarating, happy fucking people.
Yeah. I mean, he just gets so charismatic when he goes into the shop, and he, like you said, with the ladies, he's like, she's ugly. He was awesome. So yeah, I would say John Nada, man. Loved Roddy Piper's performance, and rest in peace, Roddy Piper, man.
Yeah, no shit. Lost him. Way too soon. What about you, Mike? What's a performance you want to highlight?
For the record, Roddy Piper is Canadian, so he's not actually Scottish.
Canadian of Scottish descent, I'm assuming, probably.
Well, either way, he has a matter of fact.
Or was the Scottish shit just a bit? Was the Scottish
that's
stuff
that's just his character. Like, he's just a whatchamacallit. I mean, he was just a wrestler. That was his gimmick, was being the Scottish guy. Like, when he was living on the streets, like, he learned how to play the bagpipes for somehow. He doesn't even know how he found.
Why would you want to learn to play the bagpipes?
Just whatever you got to do to make money.
To know how to make them sound good.
That's impossible.
No,
he's super talented, but he had a rough upbringing. So I think he was like 14 or 15 when he left home.
He was actually homeless for a while. He mentions that in the commentary, that he pulled a lot from that. Like, he knew what the vibe of a dude who was homeless trying to get a job was.
Yeah, because he's like that, that guy that's kind of going from town to town, like, just getting job to job, and just
he's John Rambo.
He's a drifter, yeah.
Yeah, it starts the same way, pretty much, almost.
Mm-hmm. You know nothing about him at all. They don't give you nothing, no background. You know more about everybody around.
He's got a ring on his finger.
Yeah.
Oh, does he have a ring on his finger? I never noticed that.
Got a ring on his finger. Yeah,
Never noticed.
whole time he's wearing a ring. And, like, meaning he lost someone in Denver, Colorado. So that's what I was always like. He never mentions like the family he had, and I'm sure he had a family because whatever happened dried up, and she probably left him.
Yeah, Frank talks about his family.
Frank has a family he's trying to support.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's a performance you want to highlight then, Mike?
It's everywhere.
I don't know the dude's name, but I was just gonna say the street preacher.
Yes.
Yeah.
The speech that he gives is very
great.
You could look at today and to be like, "Yep, it's still true."
Cy Richardson. Yeah.
So, but yeah, he did a good job. His little message was it was interesting. If it wasn't for him, mouthing along to the speech, John wouldn't have been able to put two and two together or being like, something's going on here. So he's a very unknown character, but he's still vital to the story and moving it forward. So, and then I don't know, does he die at the end? I don't know if he
dies, but he
beat the crap out of him. Yeah.
He probably
gets beat to death. He and the
all
guy
the
on
heroes
the TV
die in this movie. Spoilers.
Yeah, they all die. You don't see them again. Everybody dies. Yeah, everybody dies.
Even Keith David and
soon,
Roddy
hopefully
Piper.
the aliens die. Yeah.
Well, they at least
everybody
by the end.
All we did was take out one antenna and on the West Coast feed. Like, that's all we did. So it's very
it's a worldwide feed. They were saying it. They were saying that was the main feed that was feeding the world.
But
even what Flower tells them is like, this is the central.
Like everybody who isn't in like the Los Angeles area is like, why the fuck is everybody in Los Angeles just all of a sudden going nuts and fucking going on mass murder sprees?
No shit. Dylan, what's a performance you want to highlight, bro?
I wouldn't say there's really any bad ones, but definitely I would say the one that stands out the most is, John Nada, man. Roddy Piper, just what makes this role, and then him having Keith David to kind of go back and forth with. It's just an iconic duo, man. And without these two, I don't think the movie is nearly as good as what, it is. I mean, this movie is like, this one and Big Trouble in Little China are just like two guilty pleasures that I could just throw on at any time, and just rewatch them. I could throw it on and watch it again. Right. Like after this stream, I'm probably gonna go straight and watch They Live. Straight up, bro. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's so good, man. And maybe it's not like the best. Like the ending is probably the weakest part. I would say it's not like his most incredible film ever, but it's a guilty pleasure. It's a fun film. Like Mike said, his first time watching it, like if he would have saw it when he was a kid, it might hit harder and it might be a guilty pleasure for him. Watching it, like, I can't really see me just, as watching it the first time. I could probably understand how he feels. It might hit a little different, but it's still just a fun ass film, man. And I love, like, we didn't get much out of Roddy, so this and Hell Came to Frogtown are two of like my favorite films. I just love both of those. I think he just had this certain aura and like the way he like kind of acted and went about like his roles, the couple that we got. I really enjoyed the way he kind of put himself into the films, where it felt like, he wasn't, because it wasn't like he was acting as much, where it was kind of like you're getting Roddy Piper, like you said, he was homeless at one point, so he kind of put himself into that character, so I was definitely always a big wrestling fan growing up, so it was just, I always tried to support films that had WWE stars in them, at least some of my favorite ones, and this was a double win because it was John Carpenter and Roddy Piper, man. But I think he nails this. This is by far his best film out of the couple that he did. He didn't do much, but I think, like, as Jelani said, it's a shame, man, that he didn't get to do more. This guy, he was fantastic. I feel like the reason he didn't get to do it so much though is because he wasn't probably perfect for every role. It was like certain roles he was just perfect for, and nobody else could have done this role. You know what I mean? There's just nobody else, and no one else could have done Keith David's role, I feel like, and they just had that banter back and forth. That fight scene could not happen with anyone else. Right. And like you said, man, it keeps going. You're like, holy shit, how long is this? I think
that's he just does so
good, man. Yeah, like it's just so good, man. And I just love Roddy in this, man. He knocks it out of the park, man. It's just his catchphrases, and just his catchphrases, his kind of, he's very observant, you know what I mean? He's not like a big mouth, you know what I mean? Like where he was a bit of a big mouth at times in WWE, where he's a little bit more laid back and he's just observing everything, and he's not very talkative. The homeless people are kind of trying to bring him in, and he's just very like, where I could see him have lost his family or something, because he was that kind of guy, as Rambo, he lost a lot of people, and, he was just a very stern, quiet type guy, and he's just going from town to town, just really trying to just get by at the bare minimum, you know what I mean? Because like you said, Keith David, he was sending money to his family, and he just definitely see. I never noticed the ring, but that makes a lot of sense. I always kind of figured that because he was very vague about a lot of stuff, that he maybe had some type of family in Denver, but I never saw the ring, so I never kind of put that together. But I kind of always picked up a little bit on that. Yeah, but I think Roddy just knocks this out the park, man, and no one else could have done it.
You're right, man. And John Carpenter's not just laying in necessarily like his thoughts on Reaganism, which he is, right? Yeah. But he's also laying in a little bit of philosophy at times. And for instance, John Nada is a personification of the Stoic philosophy, right? That's what you mentioned. He doesn't say much. We don't learn much about him. We learn about him through his actions, and we know that he's an honorable, noble dude. And one of my favorite bits,
he believes in America.
Well, but then that belief when he gets presented with evidence that it's not true. I mean, it takes some weird shit to get him.
That's how he starts. That's how he starts. Yeah. He's like, you work hard, you play by the rules.
Exactly. He's got the Jack Kirby quality, right? He's got that Kirby quality, right? Where like, if I play by the rules, I'm going to get a fair shot, right? That eventually he gets awakened from that lie that he's been sold, right?
And that the game is rigged.
But I love the moment, though. Like a big piece of this philosophy, I think, is when Keith David says, hey, I know you need a place to stay. I know a place where you can get some food and a place to stay. And he just doesn't say anything to him. But then he starts following him. And then he's like, hey, man, why are you following me? I don't like people following me. He's like, well, I don't join with anybody until I know where they're going.
Right.
And they have their first like clicking moment there. I really like that bit. Yeah. So let's talk about that, because some of the stuff in the script I really, really like. So style, structure, the style. It is 100% still John Carpenter. Like Fable said earlier, it's not his best shot film. But it also kind of is, because you still got that Carpenter quality of amazing cinematography, wide shots and things, but he's showing us more of an underbelly, right?
Some of those, what are those? The old school matinee paintings. What are those called? Is that right?
Matte paintings.
The matte paintings.
Yeah. The matte paintings look amazing for the glasses. That whole bit of how they choose to make it look black and white. Yeah. That's awesome. It looks. The thing is, obviously, it looks fake, but it doesn't look fake because it looks like all the movies for like 50 years that did matte painting work, and it's some of the best matte paintings.
Yeah. Very stylized.
Yeah, it's very stylized. That's cool.
And I think he switched the camera too. The whatever he filmed on, I think he switched it for that. He must have got a vintage camera or something.
He must have done something because it wasn't so easy.
I know I watched the behind the scenes before, but I forget.
Well, it wasn't just so easy, for instance, to just flip something to black and white and then grade it digitally and like make it look the way you want. So there was a lot of meticulous craft involved in that aspect of this film. The script, I do think it has a weak second act. I love the fight, but let's be honest, that second act, most of it is the fight.
Yeah.
And then a whole bit where he goes and meets Meg Foster, it just feels disconnected.
Yeah.
It just
that's where it starts to get a little.
it just loses its plot just a little bit.
It is only based on a short story as well.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So I forgive that. And hey, look, we got Nick Barucci in the chat station. This is the time of the show where I tell everybody, check out Dynamite Comics and go to dynamicforces.com. And if you feel like picking up something, put in code Robbie at your cart. You'll save 10%. Anyway, Nick, thank you for being here, man. Love you, bro. Jelani, before I hold on. Did I say everything I wanted to say?
I don't think you did.
The effects were great. The style of the film is great because this is what I was going to say. Carpenter's known to have these amazing wide shots and like Christine and Starman and Big Trouble.
Beautiful.
He does the same thing here, but he's showing the ugly side of something.
Yeah, everything's muted.
Yeah,
Very
and
muted.
that's
It's
what I
washed out.
liked about it because he's showing us this like this false face reality almost of what's going on and what's underneath. But then he's showing the biggest part of showing us what's going on is when we see the city of, like, I believe they're in LA, right? They're in LA, right?
Yeah.
You see the city in the background, and then in the foreground, we see train tracks and we see the homeless population and the tent city. And we see all this stuff juxtapositioned against each other. And I think that's really clever. He does, though, however, recycle some bits, right? The kidnapping Meg Foster, that's from Starman. He's got bits in this movie that he's kind of pulled from other movies, kind of patchworked together at certain times. But the movie still has a very strong identity. I just think it loses focus a little bit in that second act. Not that it loses focus. It just kind of doesn't know how to pad out the second act. It doesn't have a strong scene. What do you think about the style and structure, Jelani?
I mean, I agree with that because like it is a little aimless in that second act because it's just like, yeah, we know what the issue is. We know we got to get recruited, you know, and it feels a little off. But at the same time, it's still the narrative for it. It's a simple story. I treat it like that. It's already a short story. It's very simple. You're telling that aliens have been here for countless years, you know, getting ingrained into our society, basically telling us to fight each other and not together, so that we can mine and take your things and your resources until we use you up. And it's horrible, but it's fact. I mean, on a lot of levels. And John Carpenter, I think, embraces it. He's telling us that it's too on the nose. It's one of those just too on the nose stories. And I don't care if it's a second act flaw or a third act flaw or whatever happens. He still gets that message across that there's a layer, there's a thinly veiled layer that's in society that wants us to do all these things. This is already fact. We're already living in it, but it's a lot. It's more on the nose than the subtle subtext that you want to see. It's fine for me. I think it's shot beautifully. I think the transition between the real world and the fake world and how it looks and the black and white, I love that transition. I don't know what it is. I think the makeup is fantastic for the aliens. That, like I said, it still scares shit out of me. Like to this day, because if I saw somebody like that, like in real life, yeah, I want to kill them too. It's like, no, you shouldn't live, formaldehyde face. It's just one of those things. I mean, you got to go. I know you are not supposed to be here, and it's such a weird setup. I don't know what it is. I really enjoy it. I think like I said, the makeup's fantastic. I think a lot of the set pieces work well here. There's just something about the beginning, the beginning title, where it's like graffiti, where it says "They Live," and it starts off there, and it's like right at the beginning, and it's just do, and it like comes into that shot at the very beginning, and the train goes by. It's like you time the train to go by just every second. I love that shit. I don't know what it is. It's simple, and
I was noticing that whole sequence when the train
it's a simple
passes
structure.
By,
it's
you
a
see
simple
him.
film.
Like,
Awesome.
In the commentary, John Carpenter's like, "Do you know that train cost us $12,000 to get?" He's like, and I'm like, and he goes, and then when we shot it, the train gets by before the camera's rolling.
All right, because we got to stop it.
We got to do it again. Like, what the fuck? We spent $12,000 on this train. We can't get this shot right. It's for one shot.
So we gotta
It's
do
so
it again.
wild. Like, damn, man. And this is not a high budget film, right? All right, Jelani, nice points. What about you, Brooks? What do you think about the style and structure?
I think it's structural. It reminds me of Big Trouble in Little China a lot.
No.
Like it kind of has that sense of like impending, like you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop in a lot of ways to see what craziness is going to happen next. But yeah, it's kind of like it's one of those hero's journeys where like the hero sees a truth that nobody else can see. So now like part of his journey is mainly trying to fucking, get everybody else to see the things, that he sees, and like how that's kind of an uphill battle because of, like the complacency that's been bred into everyone, like of people not wanting to make waves, of not wanting to, disrupt things, like things are bad, but, they could get worse, so like, it's kind of like that, like of trying to shake things up when, the people who have the most to lose are like the ones who need to make that change, but are unable to because they've been powerless for so long that they've forgotten even how to do it. So yeah, I like it.
Hell yeah, man! Good points, man. For real. I mean, you're right on the nose about that, and we're gonna dive deeper into that. What about you, Fable? What do you think about the style and structure?
Well, style, I think this movie's style is off the charts. Like you guys were saying with the cinematography, some of the shots. For example, when he walks into the bank, like he walks in backwards, camera starts off here, pans to the side, and then you see everybody in the bank like looking at him, and he's like, holy crap, I mean, just the way that whole thing is structured. It's a master. He's a master. So, and then the black and white scenes, I thought they were beautiful scenes. It totally gave me that 50 sci-fi vibe.
Yes.
Like with the electrical things. It just gave me that vibe, especially when he was in the store and they were all like looking at him, and there's like the aisles and stuff, and it's like a fisheye lens sort of effect.
Yep.
Great stuff. And the music, I know probably we talk about the music, but the music adds to making it feel like a Western. Like here comes the stranger into town.
Carpenter's been trying to make a Western his whole career. Right? Why has nobody ever given Carpenter money to make just as legit?
It makes no sense.
So yeah, man, style is off the charts for me. But structure, you guys are right. Right after the fight, things escalate very fast. Like you know what I mean? They're crashing the meeting. They're doing this. It just escalates way too quick. So this is one of those movies for me, one of those rare occasions where I say this thing should have been 10 minutes longer. This needed some more time.
Or the second act could have had more development of that.
Yeah.
Instead of just like this weird,
for instance,
like Foster, right?
I would have liked him to have maybe sleep with her. Right? Because that would have given more of a betrayal. Right?
Yeah.
So you got to add a couple
or do something. Like
what did you say? Sleep
and add in some shit going on with Keith David's character and with the organization, because we leave all of that. We never leave John Nada's perspective throughout the entire movie. We don't see things without him involved, right? Exactly. I guess maybe that's part of it, but I don't know. It unbalances a little bit because of that.
Yeah, it's because like Link said earlier in the chat, he trusted her way too soon because there was no development. It's just like from one scene to the next. So this is the structure. You guys are on point with that. Even though I still love it. Yeah. Even though I get what's going on and it's fine for me. I think a little 5 to 10 minutes wouldn't have hurt to pad out some of the stuff to give us more attachment. Yeah. Because the fight scene, I love the fight scene, but the fight scene to me takes away from that.
Yeah. But the thing, you're right. You do need to pad the movie more because you don't want to lose anything in that fight scene.
Right.
That's the centerpiece of the movie outside of just the concept of him putting on shades.
Carpenter would have been like, I need this thing to be an hour and a half. And I love this fight scene. I'm not taking it out. So we got to rush it.
I wouldn't either.
We'll just rush the third act. Fuck it. They worked hard on this goddamn fight. What about you, Mike? What do you think about the style and structure?
I think that John Nada is a little too trusting because it kind of sets him up for the character. They explain it when he's talking to Keith David about that. He's like, I want to believe in America, and I want to believe everything that's right. So I think he trusts the lady, and then it's just kind of like, and then he felt betrayed a little bit. But when she shows back up, he's like, yeah, everything's doing the right. People are going to start doing the right thing. So it's just that, and it's his blind faith is what gets him killed, because that's who ends up, like, he trusts her, and then that's the one that ends up killing him.
He didn't need to find her at all.
No, and then I think the aliens used her as hey, here's this dude that's being a problem, and here's a soft spot. So let's exploit his weakness, and also he kind of the story it kind of sets everything up, because like he finds the glasses, goes on the killing spree, then shows back up, and then Keith David's like, stay away from me, like, go away. I don't know, like, you killed too many people.
I don't want nothing to do with any of this, man. I don't want nothing to do with any of this.
And then it's just like, no, you go. That's when the fight looks. But it's like, so they kind of explain everything of what's going on. It's very simple.
A week's pay, man.
You just
why would you come back? Pay.
Hold on, you just made me think of something real quick. So the movie starts with Frank, Keith David's character, telling John about the injustice in the economic system. Mm-hmm. And John Knott is like, nah, man, I think you're just taking this too seriously. Then he puts on the shades, and now he can't convince Keith David that shit's like fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so isn't that a weird kind of thing? Like that, I never thought about that flip, but I really like that.
And the thing too, it's like, as low budgeted it is, I don't know if it was said in the commentary for the DVD or Blu-ray, but
budget was $3 million, by the way, is what's.
I know the most expensive scene that was shot was the grocery store, because they had to have everything.
Yeah.
Everything they just couldn't go into a grocery store and like have everything. So they built two different grocery stores, like one that's in color and one that's in black and white, because you couldn't, they said that it would have like having somebody come in and cover up every single can and box with consume, obey, and just, it would just taking too long. So they had to build. So I think a lot of most of the budget went into creating the black and white world. I mean, even because look at it, like it's when he puts in the glasses and he's by the magazine rack. Like that's ridiculous. Like that's expensive. And I mean, even though, so it's just kind of like I can understand why they had to like it was expensive because of a lot of the practical effects that they had to do. So.
Oh yeah. All right. Nicely put. What about you, Dylan? What do you think about the style and structure?
Man, I think it's absolutely fantastic. The structure gets a little shaky towards the end, like we've talked. But I think the style is just absolutely fantastic. One of the most recognizable things about the film, and what makes it stand the testament of time, and what makes it so unique and incredible. Just the way it's shot, the matte paintings, the black and white style when he puts the glasses on, and then you kind of get that rugged LA vibe to it, but towards the end, you get the stuff with Meg Foster, which I'm never that crazy about. Steph kind of hinted at it where Roddy kind of doesn't have, like, he's not as shocked as you would have thought, which to be honest, I was never that crazy about her character in a way, but
I actually don't think she's needed in the movie.
No, I didn't want to be too harsh, but I really don't either.
I think at some point someone was like, John, you didn't write a woman in this movie, and he's like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, I had one in. But yeah, and John was at that point where like he wanted to be different than everyone, where he felt like, you know, the bleak endings where Nada dies at the end, like that like where everyone wanted him to live, you know what I mean? Where I would have loved to see him live too. It's not that I hate that he dies. It's really the way I hate that he goes down, where it's kind of weak. You know what I mean?
I hate the pacing of his death and Frank's death, because it's like it's almost like this film ran out of fucking money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
It escalated way too quick.
I really feel like they both should have lived, you know, like almost in like like, but it would have been mimicking the Thing, you know what I mean? Where they both like kind of like are sitting there maybe like with bullet wounds, and then like the EMTs are coming to rescue them, and maybe you don't know if they survive, maybe they do, but I still would have liked to get like something more like that, because I just hate seeing him die. And you know, Carpenter, he even says, he's like, you know, he's like, it ain't always fairy tale endings, you know, which I understand. That's completely fine. That's a big reason why I do love the guy, because his endings aren't always just like what you expect, where it's just like, oh, you know, and the happy music comes on at the end, where it's like it's more bleak, you know, like it's more realistic. But you know, John Nada is just such a badass, and the way that third act gets paced, you know, it just feels like you said, so rushed, and like they just completely ran out of money, man. And you know, they spent 12 grand on a damn train scene that, you know, that didn't even work for him in a way. But you know, the style is 100% there. The structure is there, you know, for the first 3/4 of the movie, 100%. It just, you know, fizzles out a little bit towards the end, and they were just probably struggling on what to do. I'm sure Hollywood was probably in his ear, you know, like I know they were giving him shit about killing Nada at the end, first off, and he was like very adamant that, you know, he has to die, you know, it's not gonna be that hero tale that he lives, you know, and in a way it's still, you know, it's still like, you know, he still is the hero, but he's the unsung hero that nobody will ever know, you know what I mean? That's kind of the point, you know, where it's like, this man, he risked his life just to kind of save the planet in a way, and you know, and expose them, which is absolutely awesome. It's just, you know, I would have loved to see that. You know, tell me, am I wrong? Am I crazy? But I know he would have never done it because it'd been the exact same ending. But him and Keith just sitting there, just like with bullet wounds, and just kind of sitting there at the antenna or like down in the stairs, and just
that could have been something cool. Yeah, but I mean, he already borrowed stuff from Big Trouble and The Thing and Starman, so why not borrow?
Why not, man? Why not? You know, I mean, that I put They Live and Big Trouble hand in hand. Like I was just texting my brother because he loves They Live, and I was like, dude, please, when you get like an extra hour and a half, please put on Big Trouble Little China. Like if you love They Live, you know,
especially if you've never seen Big Trouble. Holy,
I don't think he has.
And of course, we covered that on PCP Movie Night. I think last year. Last year. So
dude, when we did that, bro, I was like in a phase where I like was watching that over and over. Like I watched that movie for a couple weeks straight. Like I absolutely adore that film, bro.
Big China, a little China face.
That's one that I always wish got a sequel. I know that's like the unsung sequel of
Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah.
We're in big trouble.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. I got somebody calling me. 1 second. Sorry.
You're fine. We're moving on anyway. All right. So we're talking about the music now. The music in this film, of course, is done by John Carpenter and Alan Howarth, who had been collaborating together for the last several years. They do amazing work together. This doesn't necessarily sound like the typical Carpenter score when you think of Carpenter. But what I love about this score is it has this twangy 80s neo blues kind of thing going on with it. But when the shades go on and he sees the real world, it gets way more sci-fi, way more synth, way more typical Carpenter and Howarth scores, but it's a bit more subdued. And then towards the end, when both worlds start combining, both scores start combining. And I think that's really genius.
They do.
So what do you think about the music, Jelani? And then I got to step out for a second. Lead the way through after you're done.
Yeah. Well, at the beginning I thought it was a little repetitive, but in like a great way. It tells you he's sauntering into town. You hear that music as the drifter that we talked about before, and he's so animated when he does it. But the music itself, like I said, as it goes in and you get used to it, like it's kind of a lived-in sound. Yeah, and especially when he puts on the glasses and you start to see the fact that like the world isn't what it is. It does go into that sci-fi vibe, that moving into right, left, and just like this isn't the world that I know, but it feels like his brain is shut off for that music. I mean, but it's great. I mean, I can't really complain about this music. What about you, Brooks? What do you feel about it?
I like it. I mean, it's like the thing that stood out to me most is like the bass lines. You know, it had a lot of this. The soundtrack has a lot of bass. You know, like boom, boom, boom. But and like I found myself like kind of nodding along to it in certain parts. But it does. It suits the atmosphere of the movie. It's very much and like Robbie was saying, it changes up when the glasses come on. Like it's like not only do you see things differently, but like it makes it kind of feel like the rest of your senses are changing, as his senses might be changing as well when he puts the glasses on. Like maybe things smell different when he puts them on, and stuff like that. So yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. And speaking of smells, I mean, I'm pretty sure Fable smells great. I mean, like fantastic. All those comics behind him. Yeah, dude. Tell us what you think about the music.
I like it, man. I can't really add too much more than that. I think you guys hit the nail on the head. It like I said earlier, it gives me that Western vibe, a guy rolling into town, like boom, 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 boom. And like Brooks said, I mean, well, like you said, it was like kind of repetitive at first, but it kind of like goes and it kind of like
you go with it.
Yeah, moseys you along, and then when it changes up into a little more science fiction, it's great too. I mean, he's a great composer. I can't really add too much. I liked it.
Good deal. Yeah. Well, I guess Robbie's not coming back. So speaking of composers who compose stuff, Mike has composed some beautiful soundtrack. Yep. He's like, why aren't you buying my stuff? Yeah, Mike. Tell us what's going on with music, dude.
It's very I don't know. There's a lot of movies that are in filmed in LA that have like it reminded me a lot of Lethal Weapon with just in a way like the saxophone being the harmonica.
They should have called Eric Clapton and Michael Caine and shit, right?
So it's just one of those. It had a Western feel, but it also, it felt like any film. It just seemed like any film in LA that was made or was made like the LA was the location. It always seems like it just had the bluesy style to it. So I enjoyed it. I like Robbie. Robbie pretty much nailed it when he said they definitely did the sci-fi, because I went back and watched a few scenes and it does get a little synthy when he puts the glasses on. So
rock on, man. What about you, Dylan? What do you think about the score of the film?
It's absolutely fantastic. I mean, Carpenter, as always, man, just absolutely slaying just doing what he does best, man, and just giving you that, that 80s aesthetic, man, and that what's the word that we always use for 80s music, like horror music?
Atmospheric.
But what was it that the synth, that synthy vibe,
Yeah.
It's not as synthy as like Halloween, but it's absolutely perfect for what he's trying to accomplish. It just goes absolutely perfect with the atmosphere in this film. I love it, man. I love it, dude. I love the kind of theme to this one. It's just great, man. So much fun, and I highly recommend this one and Big Trouble as a double feature, man. If you want to go triple feature, even though I have not watched it yet, I've only seen bits and pieces, but I know Robbie would recommend it as a triple feature. Buckaroo Banzai, Big Trouble, and They Live, baby.
That
which
actually
we will
would be a
doing.
really good trilogy, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, right? And then we will be doing Scarpad's doing Buckaroo next week, which funny thing, we did the thing from another world tonight, and I saw a text from Bill like, "You all right, guys?" And he goes to the end of this thing, and I'm looking at the whole time. I'm like, "Why does it say schedule?" Because sometimes when you're on here, comments weren't coming in. I was like, "Maybe it's just StreamYard being weird." He forgot to hit go live. He forgot to hit the live button.
Are you telling me that you did the whole Scarpad show and he didn't actually go live?
Oh man, he didn't hit live. He never hit it. He didn't record it or nothing. It's a part of the Scarpads. So if you guys wonder what happened to the thing from another world.
Did you do it again?
No. We had Robbie. He knew we had Robbie's show. He didn't want to step on those toes. I mean, we could maybe always do it again, but
Dude,
yeah, you know.
Delaney and Brooks, y'all remember those days where we
That's
used to like
crazy.
film a whole fucking 40-minute long movie review? Then I'd be like, "Fuck, dudes, I didn't have the
Yes.
turned on."
My mic was on mute the whole time.
Oh,
Death Nut challenge.
Comics.
Yeah,
It
he
reminds
was-
me of the Death Nut challenge.
It's the lost episode. He was on the
Lost
he was
episode.
on the THC drinking pen. He was
Yeah, I told her. You need
I
to give
can't
me
wait
some
to
of
bust
that.
his balls about that one,
That
man.
is.
That's gonna be awesome.
Oh,
All
man,
right,
we'll be asking about that lost episode for a while.
there he is right there.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Scarpad? You didn't go live?
That's
You-
I like the whole time it said scheduled on there, and I was like, why is it saying scheduled?
Why did
Poor
you say
guys.
something?
I didn't think of
They-
it, man. I
They
thought
probably
it
said some of the
live.
most poignant stuff they've ever said about a film, and
Wow.
we never got to listen to it.
Yeah.
No recording, no nothing, man. Holy shit.
And they cure cancer. Somehow the cure cancer was in there. And,
Yeah.
All right.
Jeez.
That cracks me the fuck up. I've never heard of that. That's hilarious. All right. Time
That's
to talk
really
about what the
funny.
movie's trying to say to us. Obviously, this movie has its message right there on the nose. However, we can all take whatever nuances we want out of it. Delaney, what is They Live, John Carpenter's They Live, speaking to you?
Stay woke. Boom, 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 boom. Baby's changing. I love that song. And it makes total
Me
sense
too.
for this
That's a
movie.
good
You
one.
gotta stay awake. This world is a blur. Yeah, it's a blur. And you know, I hate what woke has turned into because of that song, but that
Right.
encapsulates
The
the
meaning is
freaking movie. It's just like you gotta stay awake. It's the same meaning. You're on your P's and Q's. Make sure that it's mostly for you. It's not for anyone else. However you interpret this movie, this mess for this movie is tailored for you, for us. It's simple because that movie teaches you that, you know, you can't just accept things. Because I had a really crappy experience the last couple weeks. It's been hot night and it opened my eyes to a lot of things, and it shows you who people are. It shows you how systems and societies are. It shows you I got just from having power and anything and living in 3 places, like the weirdest experience I've ever had in my life. And just for that time manner, thank you, Robbie, for this timely move. It shows you that there is a thin underbelly, that there are things that you expect from like your job, your relationships, way things are put together in society. All fragile. It is all absolutely nothing but what you believe. I take from what you see isn't what you get. You have to just remove that veil for yourself and make your own decision. And it may work out. I don't know. No, been a long trip.
You know, I feel like Delaney was probably just now the most honest and brutally profound he's ever been. And we all heard about 65% of it, Delaney. I didn't want to interrupt you and break your heart, but you were T-paining us. But I think I got the gist of what you were saying. And I just want to let you know, Delaney, that I love you. You're worth it. And stay woke, my man. All right, Fable. No, not Fable. Brooks. God damn these glasses.
Thank you.
Brooks, what's this movie speaking to you?
I think this movie, like, one of the main themes is how, like, there's a lot of divides between people, whether it has to do with race or sexuality or religion or whatever. And, like, when Roddy Piper's character first comes into town, he's a stranger. And then, he meets Keith David's character. And at first, Keith David's, like, trying to help him out. And then, when they get to working together, they have kind of like a friendly rivalry going. And then, like, when he learns the truth, it's like they're set against each other, despite the fact, that they're in the same boat. Even though they, like, may have come from, like, different places and, they're obviously of different races, like, they're in the same boat, but they've been set against each other by these, like, by the kind of the structures that have been set up by these things that as a means to control them. So, like, my philosophy on, like, on humanity as a whole is, like, the whole idea of, like, races and all this other stuff, like, it's not important, because, like, when it comes down to it, there's only two types of people when it really comes down to it. There's the elite, and then there's us. And, like,
Right.
I think that's the way it's always been. And, like, the fact that, we all fight amongst each other while these, like, wealthy elites just, like, look down from on high and just fucking laugh at us and egg us on, it just, like, irritates me so much. And, like, the fact that, people can't see it, that's another part of, the smoke screen that they're putting up, it's like, just to make you see somebody who you should see as an ally, as an enemy, and see, like, your enemies as benefactors. And, that's probably why I love this movie so much, because it's pointing out that simple truth in a way that's very easy for, like, a common fella to understand. And it's also, like, entertaining, and you've got good charismatic actors like Roddy Piper and Keith David. So yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. Well put. Well put, Brooks. And I love it when Brooks gets passionate about fucking inequality and the fucking man and all that shit, right? Y'all remember that phase last year where every movie was about, like, the fucking government and the evil establishment and all that shit?
Well, to be fair, like, a lot of movies are about that. There's a subtext in, like, a lot of movies.
Yeah, there are. But of course, we read what we put into it too.
Yeah,
but
true.
no, this is 100% in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, this one, like, obviously that's what it's about.
What about you, Fable? What do you think, man?
The theme is just kind of on the nose, right? It's like right in your face, telling you what it's about. But on this watch, I'm gonna say it's about being too naive. It's like a cautionary tale about being too naive. In a lot of ways, because Roddy Piper, like you said, you guys pointed it out all through the night, he believes in the American dream. He believes in doing the right thing and all this stuff. And he found out that's not how life works. And then he fell in love with a girl just by looking at her, and just way too naive, trusting way too many people too fast. And
don't fall in love with the woman that you kidnap. That's probably not going to end good. You'll get knocked out the fucking window.
Yeah, just cautionary tale, just it is about being woke, but some people just don't trust anything.
Exactly.
Period. Right? They don't have to just be woke or understand politics and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I think. I think it's a cautionary tale about being naive, a little too naive.
About politics.
Might get you killed.
Oh,
about
yeah,
politics,
sure.
right?
Exactly. What about you, Mike? What's this movie speaking to you, man?
This movie was a warning that we all didn't heed. So he was telling us how the society was greedful, and we were like, oh, cool, aliens. So to comment on what some of Brooks said, it's they distract us with the race war to prevent the class war, because once we reunite, then the elite have nothing, because then it's us versus them. And unfortunately, as the saying goes, the rich will get richer till the poor get educated. So, and then we will continue to be poor by buying unnecessary things that we need in our life. So just distractions.
Yeah. We're complicit in our own blindness.
It's like the elite. It's like they use the
Yep.
things that we want to get us to do what they want. Like, oh, you want the thing? Well, you need to do this for me.
But
if you
they
wanna get the thing.
also manufacture the want for the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would totally be screwed in this world because we all
Yes.
got needless things.
We already know that Jelani would sell us out in a fucking heartbeat.
Right.
Dylan, what's this movie speaking to you, man?
I'm sold out. Like, if you're doing a revolution, guys, please tell me so I can tell them.
I'd say, you know, those underlying tones that go on in the world that no one talks about, you know, that fake
Dylan.
news. What's up? The you know, everything, you know, that goes on that people don't always talk about, I guess, you know. And what is it? That question or that saying that everyone says that, you know, what's right in front of you is getting right past you most of the time. You know what I mean? And that's what usually they're doing. They're pulling that little magic trick. You know, they're showing something right in front of your face just so they could slip something right past you, you know, right in front of you. So yeah, you know, obviously we all know John Carpenter has his gripes with the government, just period. And, you know, like you said, the Reagan era. And I think it's very clear, you know, that he don't trust them, you know, and I don't blame him, you know.
Yeah, right. That was a big theme in 80s movies, right? Let's think about shit like Steven Spielberg's E.T., Romero's Day of the Dead, Carpenter's They Live. There's a lot of cinema that's speaking directly on the disparity of wealth in the Reagan era, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was something that, I mean, we're not going to get too into it, but like, it was something that like Carter tried to do, but like couldn't work. Like, it just seems like an impossibility to fix that. And that's so fucking disconcerting, man. It's so disenfranchising as someone who gives a shit, right? As people who give a shit about this country, this world, our international community, where we have so much and so much technology, so much knowledge, so many resources, and so many people have so little, so few have so much. Like, that's just so fucking discouraging to see that this movie is made 30 fucking years ago. It could be made today. It's the same fucking relevant message, right? And it's just
even more so today.
And you guys all hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Everything that you all said. But I want to get on this part, and this is something Stefan mentioned in the comments. It's also about what we will do to get a piece of the pie, to get a little piece of what we think is peace. We think it's a PEACE of the pie, but it's just a tiny fraction. You're getting nothing. You're not even getting a piece of the pie, bruh. You're getting goddamn crumbs, right? Like we're the Tom and Jerry fucking rats. And I'm not talking about Jerry, the other rat.
I get a yacht.
But the idea is this, though. Even when we think that we are aware of the injustices of society, like Keith David is in the beginning of the movie, like Roddy Piper's not, right? You were talking about that naive aspect, Fable. Well, that naive aspect flips into Keith David when shit's really fucking happening. It's one thing to complain about the government, but when he's confronted with the opportunity to actually see the truth and have, because he resists it. That's why I think that fight scene's so important to be so long, because Keith David, to me, Roddy Piper's going through the hero's journey. Keith David is more of the focus of what I think this movie's about. He's bitching and complaining, but when he's confronted with the truth, he doesn't want to see it, because when it's beyond saying these dudes control something if he finds out what it really is, when he has to confront the real truth, he has to fight. And that means he's going to lose it. He could lose everything that he's fighting for right now just to hang on by a thread, right?
Yeah.
So to cap that all together, our complacency allows those in power to keep us in these positions. So it's not just about staying woke, and we mean that in the real term. It's not just about eyes above. It's not just about seeing through the veil. It's not just about understanding that those in power are working actively to keep us down. It's about understanding our responsibility and sacrifice it's going to take to change that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. So we're going to end it there. All right. We're going to rate this film out of 5 possible you digs. You out there in the chat, what do you give They Live? Jelani, kick us off.
I hope you can hear me.
Crystal clear now.
I'm going to give this 5. Yeah, I'll give it 5. It's nostalgia bites for me. What I was saying, but through a lot of shit in the last few weeks, and showed me a lot of things, and timely film for me to see this during my life, because systems break down, and actually 2020 proved that a lot of things that we thought that were in place to help us aren't there to help us at all. We have to rely on ourselves. And that's what I was trying to say. We have to rely on ourselves. We have to rely on what, and the message of this movie for me, for what I was trying to say before, was that this movie is individualized for each person. It's for all of us. You take what you need to from this movie, but it's on the nose. It's right where it needs to be. You know that this world is thinly veiled. Know that this world is where it is because we didn't make it the way. We were born into it. And the fact that we were born into it, we just have to navigate it the best way we can. That's what I see from this movie. And it's a nostalgia bite for me. I was going to give it a 4, but I keep thinking about it more. And I'm like, nope. This scared the shit out of me as a child. I didn't know what was going on until I saw it again when I was older and on VHS. And I realized what what all of that meant. But 5.
Nice.
It's 5.
Perfect score from Jelani. What about
and
you?
now
Brooks?
it makes more sense.
I give it a 5 too. I mean, I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, this is a movie I haven't watched. I feel like I've missed out having not seen it all these years. But I'm glad that I finally did. It's like I think that my favorite thing about this movie is like how he has this message that's very important, but he presents it in such a simple way, that anybody can understand it, and like on top of like all the other things, that all the other themes of the movie, like another important one was like, the idea of community, especially amongst, the downtrodden.
Yeah.
When you start out, you see all these people, they have so little, but they have each other. They have a very tight knit community, and I think that's like really true about most poor communities. They're not just like people who are like lazy or thieves or something like that. They're just people who are like having trouble getting by. They want opportunities, but they just can't find them. So they lean on each other. When you're in hard times, like you lean on the people around you, and you depend on them, and like they depend on you in turn. And that's how communities, those tight-knit communities, are built. And that's why like it's so tragic when these guys just come in with bulldozers, these cops just come in, these thugs, and just like bulldoze all their shit and like raise their community to the ground. But it doesn't work because they just come right back, and they're going to rebuild that community as many times as they need to.
Fuck yeah, man. All right, 2 perfect scores so far. What about you, Fable? You're muted, bro.
Stealing Mike's bit
Going
already.
5. Going 5, you digs as well. As a kid, I loved it because of Roddy Piper. I loved it because of the fight scenes. I loved it because of the makeup, the masks and things. I thought the creatures looked cool. But then you that wears off on you, and what you have left is a beautifully shot movie that has a lot of innuendo, a lot of good science fiction in it, and just a simple story, like Brooks said. That's easily digestible. This movie's great. 5.
All right. So far, perfect scores across the board. What about you, Mike?
Well, here's where the perfect score comes to an end because I am not looking through nostalgic glasses. I'm looking at it for the first time.
Nice pun. You're not looking at it through rose-colored lenses, right?
Yep. So I give it a 3.5. It doesn't hold. It doesn't, like I said, first time I've seen it, so that's my honest opinion of it. Like, there's no nostalgia value to it. I love the characters in it, but the story has its issues. The special effects, practical effects, and cinematography are great, but it's not. I don't see the justification in giving it 5 or even a 4 or 5. Maybe a 4. I can give if I watch it a few more times, I can see it being a 4. But like right now, it's 3.5.
All right. Dylan, you there? You out there, Dylan? Dylan, are you out there? I don't like giving my rating until everybody's given theirs. So, fucking Dylan. All right. Kirby gives it a 4 out of 5. Two Gun gives it 4. Eric gives it 4. Joram gives it 4.5. Steph gives it a 4. Jay gives it a 4. Dylan, are you out there? Dylan's going to give it a 5. I know it. I already feel it in my heart. So, all right. I don't. Okay. I'm going to try to. I'm trying to do something new in 2023. There's Dylan. Thank God. All right, Dylan. What? It's your turn. What do you give this film?
Sorry, bro. Fucking 2 fucking DoorDash meals got canceled in 10 minutes. I literally been sitting in the last hour waiting on one. They play me on that, and then I order another one. She calls me 5 minutes later, cancel that. I'm like so fucking livid about that.
I've never heard anybody be like, DoorDash played me, man.
Twice. In an hour, motherfuckers, bro.
The old door and dash.
Wow.
I'm heated, bro. I'm starving, bro. I'll give it a 5, bro. This movie's so rewatchable. It's absolutely, one of my favorites. It's just one of my favorites to watch. I'll give the ending a pass because it's based off a short story. John Nada, Roddy Piper is just fantastic in this role. I'm gonna go watch it as soon as this shit ends. Straight up, Keith David is so damn good. Like, I literally was watching it on the tablet while you guys were talking. I just so good, man. I love this movie. It's just one I can watch at any time.
It's
man.
awesome.
It's just so much. It's awesome,
It's an
bro.
awesome film.
It is.
Yeah. I have so much fun with it. So yeah, 5 all day, man.
Phenomenal, my friend. It's
John
phenomenal.
Carpenter, Roddy Piper, Keith David, slaying it, bro. Slaying it.
So I got this new thing I want to do in 2023 where I want to get a little bit more serious about my rating system. And most of the movies that we do here on PCP Movie Night are obviously picked by me. And they're usually picked by me because either I think it's going to be fucking funny to talk about surf ninjas, or I think I really want to rewatch this one movie that I think is amazing. That being said, I highly recommend this movie to anybody. I think it's got problems structurally with the story. It's got a lot of potential. It lives up to a lot of that potential, but I don't think it's a flawless movie. And as much as I love it, in my heart of hearts, I would say that this movie is a 4 out of 5. I think it's really, really solid. It's got some problems structurally, and that knocks it down just a little bit for me. I've been rewatching Carpenter's filmography, and he's done better. He's done worse. But this is a really good movie, and anybody who hasn't seen it, I would recommend this movie to 100%. I think it's a great film. It's got its issues, but it overcomes them. So I'm going 4 out of 5. So a 4 from me and a 3.5 from Mike and a 5 from everybody else for a PCP average of 4.69, dudes. Hell yeah. All right. Thus concludes our review of They Live. But don't worry, PCP Movie Night is not done. We're going to be back next week for our second show of 2023. where we're actually going to be covering a movie that we did for our second movie review on this channel like 7 fucking years ago. And we're going to be talking about Clerks from Kevin Smith. So next week on PCP Movie Night, join us for Clerks. And then on Saturday, what are we talking about, Dylan?
Burial Ground. Awesome Italian horror. You're gonna love it.
I'm really excited to check that one out.
I'm excited for you to check it out too, bro.
You know I love my Italian horror.
Yes, I do.
Well, what was it? 4 point what?
Can't hear you, Mike.
Mute.
He's muted.
I had to pull it back up. It's 4.58.
Oh, that's close. 4.69. That's close.
Yeah,
It's close.
More like 4.569. So, anyway, next week we're talking about Clerks. And then on Saturday, Dylan's horror show. But Jelani, you and Brooks have got a channel called Tell us what's coming up. Brooks, what's coming up for you guys? You know?
Yes, I do. We're planning to do our top 5 figures of last year.
We're going to. Not breaking up. Something I told you.
You thought you just.
We're just letting Brooks take this bit. Brooks, what's coming up?
Yeah, like I said, we're doing our top 5 figures of 2022.
We're going to be doing our top 5 figures of hopefully.
This is great.
This is so fucking funny to me. It always happens to Jelani.
I give up.
All right, check out Go Figure Reviews.
And also we're doing a video on the retro card games that came out.
We have a channel. Stuff happens on it.
Fable, what's coming up for you, buddy?
Oh man, you already
I'm glad y'all are
Fable.
but I've gone through it. So you're
Blame Fable and his amazing friends every Saturday at 1 p.m. on IG Live with Nick Comic Culture, and this week we're having Verno, man, the Cerebros, blood splatter and chatter from Dylan's Horror Show on. So it's gonna be a good time, man. Check it out.
Hell yeah, Mike. You got anything you want to say?
Did you kick him or did he leave?
No, he left. I think he was like, fuck y'all. He gets so offended with it. Like, it's not our fault, bro. We know it's not your fault. It is just funny, though.
It's like a malfunctioning Max Headroom over there.
and the quality of Go Figure Reviews is not represented by the quality of his live stream.
That's true.
There you go.
Everybody needs to go check out Go Figure Reviews and Blame Fable. Really great stuff. And check them out. It's one collection down over on Instagram. Mike, was there anything you wanted to say?
I don't know. I'm kind of in a lull right now. There's no shows, not traveling, not really doing much, which means it's a good time to get creative. Start coming up with some things. I have an idea for a show that I'm still up in the air about, but if I would do it, I would decide I want to go big, and I got to fix all of this, and there's other things I got to take care of, and get every. Hey, there he is. He's back on his phone. We'll take it. But yeah, so I kind of want to get that done. I might do it with Jelani and Brooks. I don't know. We'll see. Might do it with Robbie. Depends on his schedule. So, or I might just have my own channel coming up soon. But get ready for the Mike 06 show. 4 hours of just random chaos.
Well, we love chaos here. What about you, Dylan? What's coming up? We already mentioned one thing, so I mean, I guess just tell us again about what's coming up.
Yeah, Burial Ground this Saturday, and then Scarpat and I will be doing the Twilight Zone show this Friday.
That's right. That's this Friday.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Dylan trying to do 2 shows a week now. Look at that. Look at you.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough. We'll see how it goes. I'll be having trouble just getting that one movie in sometimes. Man. Work is ridiculous.
I just love how you were like, we're doing 4 episodes at a time. I'm like, you sure you just don't?
That's Scarpad, man. That's
That might have
Scarpad,
been the
man.
perfect promotion, right? It's gonna be rough. It's like I gotta go watch this thing.
Yeah, we'll see. Depending on how hard it is to get 4 episodes in a week, we might have to drop it down to 2. But
Yeah,
it's gonna be like it'll only be an hour-long show. It'll be fun, no doubt. It's just gonna be. I just gotta make sure I get the time in. That's all. I prolong shit sometimes, man, and then like I watch the horror show movie a lot of times, like right before the stream.
yeah. Sometimes you watch the PCP movie night movie after the stream.
That too. You know, so,
Twice.
yeah, and then like I got a Twilight Zone book, so I've been like I really.
Can you imagine if Verno was on that show? He'd be like, I have to watch 4 episodes 8 times before I can do this.
Seriously, it'd be a rough one. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I love the Twilight Zone, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's just a classic Twilight Zone. You're not doing the '80s series, are you?
I'd like to eventually, because I do have the whole box set of those, but it's just starting with the original, like for now, because there's not much, reviews on those, and they're just so good, man. So I'm so excited to go back through all of them again, because it's been a while. Like most of the time, I just check out a couple here and there, but it's been a while since I just blew through all of them.
I bet Brooks would be down to be on a couple of those episodes, probably.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so good, man, so good.
I had a friend.
I got a little book too.
I had a friend that used to record the Twilight Zone onto cassette and just listen to it as he would drive. Like instead of music, he's just listening to episodes.
Wow.
Twilight Zone.
You record on cassettes? It's interesting.
Yeah, he just recorded on. You just go through a receiver to a tape deck through your TV and just record it. So you can just record the audio.
I love the show, man. It's so good. And I got Scarpad got me this Twilight Zone companion book. So it literally dives into each episode, every episode is logged in here, and they go through it, in depth. So that's another reason why I was like, it's gonna be a little, because I really want to watch them all and then kind of dig into that,
Yeah, Dylan, you should have already been watching these episodes, by the way. If your show's
I told him that. I was like, I'm gonna watch a couple of nights. He's like, yeah, I'll probably watch them the night before, so I don't forget.
Yeah, he's got the time to do that, though. All right.
Yeah, that he does.
So check out the Twilight Zone show on Dylan's Horror Show. Check out Burial Ground on Dylan's Horror Show on Saturday. And then next Friday,
be a fun one.
Next Friday, next week on Monday, check out Clerks as we return for PCP Movie Night. Check out Blame Fable and His Amazing Friends, and check out Go Figure Reviews, and check out Mike's appearances here as part of the Excitable PCP crew. We all are, including you, Fable. We love you. We're officially just going to go ahead and say you're part of the Excitable PCP crew, bro. You're one of us. We love you, man. Thank you for joining us. And as Jelani said, stay woke. We're dipping out. We'll see you guys next time. Peace, love, understanding, all that jazz. It's not so funny. It is serious business. And be excellent to each other. And
hey, you hit the live button, right?
Fuck. Fuck, we're going to have to do this whole shit over.
I was wondering.